Hello, all of you. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay, great. Am I audible? Good afternoon. Just quickly in the chat box, you can write a yes or a no. All right. So it will be a very short session where we will talk about how to clear CP2 and CP3 in 3 months. Um, Okay. So first, I will start off. I will not do any kind of presentations today or show any PPTs. Although I've prepared it, but there's no point to discuss the PPT slide by slide. First, let us understand what CP2 and CP3 is all about, what the paper has to offer, and then how we can finish it in the next 3 months of time. So, firstly, CP2, which is modeling practice, it's a 100-mark paper, and you have 2 days examinations, paper one and paper two. For IFOA, it happens on 2 consecutive days. For IIA, it happens on the same day mostly. It's a 3 hours, 20 minutes examination. And since the name goes modeling practice, you have to prepare a model from scratch. And then at the same time, you have to communicate. You have to talk about how have you prepared your model, what the model is all about the conclusions, about the outputs that you are getting from the model. So the exams happens on 2 days, paper one and paper two. Both involves use of Excel and MS Word. On day one of CP2, you will get a model that you have to prepare from scratch. So some data will be given to you on Excel, and then there will be a case study, there will be a background, and on the basis of that, there will be a few questions. So you have to build the entire model from scratch, and once you do that, after that, you have to prepare an audit trail in the Word document. Audit trail is somewhere around like 5 to 7 pages of audit trail we have to prepare, right? On day two, which is paper two of CP2, again, it's Excel plus Word, but here the model is already given to you. So it's half done, and you have to finish the rest half of the model according to the question, according to the data, according to the background. And after that, you have to prepare a summary report in the Word document, which will be again somewhere around 7 to 8, 7 to 9, depending pages. So both the days is Excel plus Word, Excel plus Word. Now, students generally they think that it's all about Excel, it's all about modeling, and we have to concentrate a lot on only the Excel part. And that is where I have seen students not clearing their examinations. So I will give you a brief background about myself, those who don't know. So I am a qualified actuary, and I have been teaching papers CP2, CP3, CS2, CB2, and paper B of all the CMCS papers since last 6 years. I've been teaching CP2 and CP3 since last 4.5 years. So I myself, when appeared for CP2, CP3, I'll give you a background about that. So I prepared for it in 2 months. I 1.5 to 2 months maximum, and I appeared for it in September term. So yes, I just spent and it was a COVID during the COVID period. So I've spent like 1.5 to 2 months on the both the papers together. So now when I say 1.5 to 2 months, I used to give more time. Like I used to give every day 4 to 5 hours. So if you just spread it out, 3 months is a very good time span for you to clear these two papers combined. Uh, so CP2 and CP3 so far, 4.5 years, I've taught a lot of students. We've had students who have scored all India rank one from my year. We've had students scoring very good in IFOA. Now, the students who could not clear their exams in their first attempt are the students who did not concentrate on the major portions. So what are the major portions? Those major portions are little small things, because of which students generally don't clear both CP2, CP3, maybe with a margin of 3 marks, maybe with a margin of 4 marks, maybe with a margin of 5 marks, because the marking is not very objective. The marking is very subjective. So you will have two examiners in IFOA who will be marking your paper, and you will actually see the difference in marks that both the examiners are giving you, and you can't even question that because of the nature of the paper. It's modeling practice. One model can be prepared in multiple ways by multiple people, right? So there is no given correct answer. There is no given correct way of writing audit trail, of writing summary report, because again, it's a communication. So you can communicate in multiple ways. You might feel that my communication is effective enough, but actually it is not. You might feel that my communication is crisp enough, but actually it's not. You might think that your communication is well explained, but it may not be completely explained, or you may not have to over explain certain things. So here, these few communication things at which comes in, it's also a part of CP2 examination, which generally I have seen that students fail to understand that it's not only modeling practice, but along with that, it's not only modeling in Excel, but it is also communication in Word, right? Coming back, so that is how your paper goes in paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is Excel plus Word, where you have to prepare the model from scratch. You have to communicate on MS Excel. You have MS Word. You have to prepare the entire audit trail. Same applies to paper 2. You have to actually complete the model. The model is already given to you. You have to complete the model, and both the days you will get two separate models. It will not be the same background. So two separate backgrounds that you will be getting. And on day 2, you have to prepare a summary report. So it's a very long report that we have to prepare on Word. So it takes a lot of time for us to type and complete the entire thing. CP3 is communication practice. So it's all about communicating. Now, earlier, you just get two questions in CP3. One is a 90 mark. Earlier, it used to be 90 mark. For IIA, it is still 90 mark. For IFO, it is now 80 mark. One 80 mark question and one 20 mark question. So that 80 mark question is basically your communication. That is entire one communication. Either you're writing an article or a letter, or you are maybe preparing an email, you are maybe writing a press release, you are maybe typing a memo. So it can be meeting paper, it can be anything, right? Depending on the question and the background. So they give you an additional guidance or additional information. They give you additional background. In case of IFOA, you get this additional background 3 days before your examination. In case of IIA, you receive it on the same time, which contains a little bit short story on what is happening. Maybe there is a company, whatever. It gives you a brief description, and on the day of examination you get your exam report, exam paper, which is a continuation of that particular background, and it build up the questions and asks you to communicate. Now you can communicate as an employee, you can communicate as a manager, you can communicate as a appointed actuary, as a marketing actuary, you can be pricing actuary, you can be maybe a part of, you can be you can be a consumer, you can be directly communicating to the consumer, you can be directly communicating to the government, you can be communicating to anyone. So you can be anyone and you can communicate to anyone. That is how it is in considered in CP3. And the background can also be anything. Now the syllabus is nothing defined in both CP2 and CP3. You don't have a clear defined syllabus like in any other actuarial paper. It's all about practice. It's all about practice. There is no syllabus that you have to sit and study or mug up or do any kind of rote learning over here. It's all about practice, both in CP2, CP3. Now, if you ask me, ma'am, which one is more difficult, I have seen that students generally it's a little difficult for students to clear CP3 examination, which is communication. Why? Because it's completely subjective. Again, you feel that your communication is very good, but actually the audience is not able to understand what you're trying to communicate, or your aims are not to the point. You have written a lot of irrelevant points. So there are n number of things that we have to consider before putting my CP3 paper forward. Similarly, in CP2 as well. Now, in terms of effort that you have to put in both the papers, in case of CP2, since you have Excel plus Word, so the amount of effort that you are putting in is definitely is almost not double, but almost double than that of CP3, because CP3 you are just practicing communication, right? Second reason where students fail is that they fail to practice. So they think that okay, practicing one paper, two paper is fine enough, good to go. So this is where they don't understand that you have to practice a lot of paper, and that it's not very easy to clear CP2, CP3. If you see the passing percentages, it's not very great. It's not very great. In case of IA, it's like around 18%, 19%, 20%, 25%. In case of IFO, it's around 30, 35%. So it's not always very high, right? The passing percentages are not very high always. So here, the second aspect is that students fail to practice, and so they are not able to clear both CP2 and CP3. You need that kind of practice. Third and the last thing, generally where I've seen students failing, is that they don't understand where you can score the marks, right? You have to understand where you can. So if you're writing a 80 mark or 90 mark answer, which is a communication, you will not understand where I will receive this 1 mark, 2 mark, 5 mark. So the marking distribution is very difficult for you to understand, right? And that is why I come in and I explain you where you can get marks. So even though if I'm not very good in English, even though I'm not very good in preparing models, I can still clear my exam, because at the end of the day you can receive any model. You can receive any kind of model. For example, if you are in life insurance, you can receive a pensions model, you can receive a GI model, you can receive anything which is not even directly linked to actuarial science. So you can receive any kind of model, any kind of data. You have to understand it and you have to prepare a model out of it. And you have to also communicate. You have to make a audit trail. You have to make a summary report. So at all of this, you need to understand that model, preparing a model, preparing a communication, the question is not very important. What is important is you have to know where you can score that marks. And once you know that where you can score that 1 mark, 2 mark, what are the points where we will definitely not get marks in, what are the places where we have to put in effort, what are the places where we don't have to put in so much effort, because that's completely out of our hands. You cannot never know that what will be the content of your CP3 paper. So you cannot put in so much effort on learning any kind of content. So these small things you need to understand both in CP2 and CP3 paper individually. These are the three major points where students, they fail to clear these two papers, and these are the points where we work in. So now I'll quickly explain you how the classes will be and how you can easily, along with your job or along with your full-time college, complete CP2 and CP3 paper in a 3 months time span. We will be having weekend classes. So the classes will be on either on Saturday or on Sunday. That will be decided once the batch is formed. And the CP2 class will be approximately of 1.5 hour. Again, CP3 class will be of 1.5 hour. So there will be 1 to 2 classes every weekend. And apart from that, there will be no classes on the weekdays, considering all the students, most of the students are working. So we only have classes on the weekends. The first thing that we do is that we prepare one model from scratch for CP2, paper 1, paper 2 separately, because both are very different. It's not the same. Even though the way of learning is similar, but the pattern is very different for paper 1 and paper 2 in CP2. So paper 1, paper 2, we build models from scratch, one model. Same for CP3, we build one model from scratch, right? Once that is done, that can take, let's suppose in case of CP2, it will take a little bit longer. It might take 8 to 9 classes, or maybe 10 classes. In case of CP3, it might take 5 classes to finish one model from scratch, because we go very slow. We understand one single aspects. We understand points exactly that you have to work upon. So a lot of things, a lot of things that we have to put effort in. And after that, at the end, we once this is done, maybe half a month gone in this, 20 days gone in this, then we practice all the past papers, right? So individually you are given targets that okay, this week you have to finish off this paper, and then on the weekends we discuss. So for example, we discuss your paper in class. Now why is discussing your paper in class very important? Because you have to know where you are going wrong, right? So this is not a very easy paper like compared to CMCS, where you know that okay, this is the answer. So the final answer should be this. If you are getting the final answer, whatever way you have used, you will get the marks. No, because here we don't have. Just 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I'll just plug in the charger. Okay. So you have to understand that because your answer will be very different compared to someone else's answer. We have built a model from scratch. I've given you a lot of points to take into account, a lot of things. Still, our answers will be different because it's again a communication. So it's very, very subjective. And the solution that IFOA or IAI gives you is an indicative solution. That's not the perfect solution that you have to, that's not the only solution that if you put in, you will get the answer, you will get the mark. So even they are saying that it's an indicator solution. This solution will not tell you everything. You can have some other answers as well, and which will give you equal marks. So that is why after that we spent each class understanding what you have written, how you can improve, and eventually with like 7 8 classes you start improving. And towards the end, once the classes are done, we take a mock exam for CP2 and CP3 separately. In the mock, how do we check mock is in a very elaborative manner. So individually we will give you marks for each single part, like IFYIA does, so that you are able to understand that okay, I have to improve in this particular aspect, I have to improve in this particular aspect, and detailed marking will be done at the end. So this is the entire structure of CP2 CP3. How much hours you have to put in every week, this is important. Now on the weekends, CP2, as I mentioned, 1.5 hours class, same for CP3, leaving aside the live classes. Apart from that, for CP2, you have to invest like 6 hours in the entire week, 6 to 6.5 hours. And for CP3, you have to invest somewhat 3.5 to 4 hours. 3.5 hours is fine. So that is the investment that you have to put in. In total, you are putting in around, let's say, suppose 10 to 12 hours. So let's put it as 12 hours in the entire week. So 12 hours in the entire week, now you can spread it out. But most of the time, what happens is that when you sit and prepare for a paper, you have to at least sit down for a minimum of 2 hours. Or at least sit down for a minimum of 2.5 hours. That's very important. Why? I'll tell you, because it's a continuous process. You cannot leave it in between. It's not that okay, I've solved one question, I'll solve the next question later on. No, it's a continuous process. So you need to, at least whenever sitting down and studying, you have to spend like 2 hours. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Otherwise you will not be able to complete it in one go, right? So this is one point that you have to keep in mind. uh, 12 hours along the week, and then spending 2.5 hours in the live classes for both CP2 CP3 inclusive. 14 hours, or maximum if I take 15 hours in the week inclusive of live classes and inclusive of your self study. So 15 hours in a week for the next 3 months, which is I think very, very, it's not very high. So it's easily you can give that much of time every week, and you are good to go. right? Now trust me, when you hear people saying that okay, CP2 CP3 बहुत easy है, आपका एक बार में निकल जाएगा, these are the people who have actually prepared for it, right? No one will tell you that CP2 CP3 निकल जाएगा without studying for it, without practicing for it. I have seen a lot of uh, friends, I have seen a lot of colleagues who are not able to clear CP2 CP3 in their first attempt. I've known people who have given CP3 like 5 to 6 times from my year, 2 to 3 times from IFOA. I've seen people giving CP2 for the second time, third time, and then clearing it maybe. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Anyone who's saying you that yes, it's easy, you can clear it in your first attempt, you don't have to prepare for it, are completely lying. Are completely lying, because that is how it doesn't work that way. You have to prepare for it. You have to prepare for it. Otherwise, yes, I have seen very good students also who have cleared their CMCS papers. For that matter, even CP1 in their first attempt, they fail in CP2 and CP3. They fail either by 2 mark or 3 mark. I have seen such kind of students. I've also seen such kind of friends and colleagues. So again, as I mentioned, that it's very important to understand what you have to study in this, because it's not very easy to understand. Just by solving, looking at past papers, you will never be able to make it that where I have to actually work on, where I have to actually put efforts in. And just by looking at your own answers, you will not be able to understand or make out that whether this answer will be able to you will be able to clear your paper with this kind of answer, because you need that additional support, or you need that kind of qualified professional, maybe who has cleared CP2 CP3, and along with that knows what it takes to clear CP2 CP3, so that you can evaluate your papers with. Right now, evaluating one paper, two paper is also not very enough. You have to evaluate a number of papers, and then slowly, gradually you improve, and you understand that okay, no matter how difficult the model can be, because trust me, there has been times, a lot of times in IFA and IA, they've given like tremendously difficult models to prepare in Excel. Uh, but again, I have seen that students who are preparing models which are not correct, which is not giving the correct answer, which is very simple. The solution is like very difficult, but the thing that they have done is very, very, in a very simple manner, they have done. They've not even touched upon many aspects, still they are able to clear their paper. And this is because they are able to understand that where actually you score marks, and it's not only on the modeling portion but a lot of other things. Same in communication, same in CP3. I've seen students with good English not clearing their paper, because it is not about English. So anyone who's saying you that it is about English, no, it's not. It's about multiple things that you have to keep in mind and understand when you are writing a communication. So it's more about practice, less about rote learning or anything else. So it's, yes, definitely you have to put in effort. You have to type. You have to improve on your typing as well, because that also adds on to it. Practice Excel, practice communication, and then attend live lectures. Live lectures in CP2 CP3 are extremely important. So anyone who asks for a recorded lecture, we or maybe just say that okay, I'll miss this class, I'll watch the recording. Generally, in CP2 CP3, that is how it doesn't work. You have to attend the live sessions. And sometimes even what I do is that if I see that okay, some of the students are not able to not able to attend a particular session at a particular time, we generally change it, because what we want at the end is maximum people attending the live sessions. Then only you can clear these two examinations. So a lot of myths are there in these papers, that as I've already mentioned, that people say that it's extremely easy, you can clear it, you don't have to study, maybe 1 week is enough. No, I've seen people leaving the paper in between. What they do is they start off with CP2, and they are stuck, and they feel okay, ये तो मेरे से अब होगा नहीं, छोड़ो, next time करेंगे, and they just leave it. They don't submit their papers. They are just blank. They're not able to finish their CP2 exams. They're not able to understand how to start writing CP3 communications. Yes, I've seen such kind of people. So all of it is myth. People saying that you can clear it without any kind of practice, no, it's wrong. It's not possible, right? So that's how we divide our lectures. Every week, every weekend we have live sessions, and on the week I will give you some small tasks to do. I will ask you something to solve, and then on the weekend we will discuss the same. We will improve in small aspects every week, till the time, maybe for the September term, maybe till like August first week, second week, we are ready for a mock. And once we are ready for a mock, once we give our mocks, we will be very happy because we have evolved over time, and our mocks should be very good enough, right? So in the mocks are generally very good enough for my CP2 CP3 students, because they've attended all the lectures now, so they understand already that where they have gone wrong, where they have to improve. And then at the end, once they're sitting for a mock, it's like a actual examination that they're sitting for, and they're also evaluated accordingly. So that's the entire process of CP2 and CP3. If you all have any questions, you all can ask quickly. I think I've completed, yes, all the points. Any questions, anyone? No question? I am planning to do something, but the exams are. See, two things. First, CP2, CP3 exams are generally always consecutively. So they have like, first they give you CP2, CP2 2 days, and then the third day is CP3. Generally, almost every time this is the case. Even when I appeared for CP2, CP3, it was continuous. Now you need to understand that these papers are more of practice. So definitely you're not going to practice in the last 3 days or 4 days. So there is nothing to do just one day before your exam in case of CP2, CP3, because there is nothing to revise. Just small few things which I give you, few notes of, I explain you few things to do. Maybe a 1 hour or 2 hour of effort that you have to put in one day before your exam. That's it. So last week, the last exam week is very chill. You don't have to do anything as such. And even I ask students to not to practice, because obviously if you're practicing for your CP2, CP3 paper, you will be very tired. The papers are very tiring actually. To sit for it for 3.5 hours and type is actually very tiring. So I never recommend anyone to practice in the last 5 days anyways. So even if it's consecutive, doesn't make any difference. What was it, Abhishek? And another thing, even though the first week of every month is busy for you, you'll just have to take 3 days off, which is the 3 days of examination, CP2 and CP3, 3 days. That's it. Apart from that, you don't have to do anything else. And the weekend before that is enough for any kind of revision. Most of the CP2, CP3 practice, or anything hard work is done now, not before the exam. It's not possible to do that. Passing marks for CP3, CP2, it's always around 60. So it's somewhere 57 to 61, 62, 55 sometimes to 60, depending on the paper, depending on the relative performance of all the students in that term. So somewhere around that. Um, So Ananya, I've already given you the CP2 timing, so you can just add it on to CM2. CP2, you have to spend like 6.5 to 7 hours every week. So either you can do it, you can sit for 3 hours at a stretch and do CP2. I believe that is a better approach of doing it. And so maybe you can take out any 2 or 3 days, 2 days where you are doing CP2 and rest you are doing CM2 or any other paper. Aishman, live classes for May has already been started, but we are having 2, 3 more classes for the May attempt. So if you want to join that, you can do. I think 3 classes we will have. The live classes have already started. Yes, you can easily appear for CP2 and CS2, but with CS2, I think it's on the same day. No, CP2 and CM2, CM1 is on the same day. I think you can go for CS2 and CP3. Yes, because in CS2 you have R programming, so that way it will be able to. CM2 CP2 is a very good combination. CS2 CP3 is a good combination. There is only live batches. There are no recorded lectures because, as I mentioned, recorded lectures doesn't make any sense in CP2, CP3. It doesn't make any sense. You will not get anything out of recorded lectures in CP2. Yes, Vedika, you can absolutely do that. You can start preparing for both. And once your results are out, you can then maybe go ahead with just CP2, and CP3 you can do it next time. It's a good approach. Yes, it will be live. Yes, yes. Timings will decide once the batches are formed, because it depends on the students, and then it also depends on the faculty. It depends on me, but it will be mostly in the morning time only, Dikshit. But generally, what happens? Some of our students who join, they say Saturday मेरा half day है, office है, whatever. So accordingly थोड़ा adjust होता है. तो 1 or 2 classes के बाद ना वो timing fix हो जाता है, depending on the students who have taken the classes. So अभी से I cannot tell you. जैसे लास्ट टाइम हमारी मॉर्निंग में क्लासेस चल रहे थे, तो कभी हमारा आफ्टरनून आफ्टरनून अराउंड 1 o'clock चलता है. सो दैट डिपेंड्स. Two exams only. So should I give these September since? Also, I was planning for. I would personally suggest Priyanka, if you've done CM and CS1, to go for CS2 paper first. Finish CM CS papers and then go for. After CS1, you should definitely go for CS2. It gives you a very good advantage. But if you feel that you will not have any time, then maybe you can go for CP2, CP3. But my recommendation would be CS2. Yes, easily. CP2 and SP paper can be easily combined. CP2, you don't have to do any kind of learning. It's only practice, which is very interesting also at some time. So it will be online, Vedika. I have not seen students turning up for offline lectures. We've tried to have it in every term. Last time also we tried to have a offline lecture at Mumbai and no one turned up. So generally people don't turn up for like 1 hour and a half hours for CP2, CP3 papers, because everything is on computer. So I have not seen students coming up for offline lectures. So it's online only. Although I might be taking classes from the center, but I don't see any student turning up anyways. Um, CP3 you can pair with CS2. Mm. Tirtha, I'm not taking your question. It's not relevant for today's session. Classes will start very soon, maybe next week or next to next week. We will let you all know in the community, but you can also connect with us on these numbers. I've shared 2 numbers in the chat box, so you can connect with us on any of these numbers. How would you advise people? Ananya, it's the same. I feel if you have a MacBook, you will be using Microsoft Excel, right? You will be using Microsoft Word. So I don't think it makes any difference that way. Even though it is center based, you will get a keyboard. They will give you a keyboard, separate keyboard they give you. So I don't think it makes much difference if you are having a MacBook or a Windows. So Priyanka, you can do that. You can maybe connect with us on this number for more details about CS2. I'm left with. You can easily give CP2, CP3, and CB1, because, as I mentioned, it depends on how much time you are ready to put in. 12 hours in a week, including live lectures for CP2, CP3. CB1 maybe every day if you're putting in. So, again, CB1 is somewhere around like 10 to 12 hours. So if you're ready to put in 20, 24 hours in a week, which is like every day 3 hours maybe maximum. So if you're ready to put in that much, it's fine. I mean, um, not much differences. Ananya, we cover all basic, small differences in our classes. Um, You can easily sit for CP2 and any one SP paper. It's very easy, because SP paper is somewhere you have to, put in effort in case of learning, practicing, past papers, assignments, material reading, so many things. And CP2 is more about practicing. So it's very fun also sometimes. You don't have to do any kind of rote learning. So you can easily combine these two papers, no problem at all. Okay, so CP2 and CP3 are papers which you can easily combine with any of the bigger papers like CP1, SP, SA, or any CMCS papers. Just that for CM2, it's easier to combine it with CP2 because both have Excel. For CS2, it's easier to combine it with CP3. So that way, if you see, the synergy goes over there. But apart from that, it's entirely fine to combine any of the CP2, CP or CP3 paper with any of the other major papers. And if you're appearing for CB1 or CB2, you can also sit for like both CB2, CP2, CP3, and CB1 and CB2. If you are a student, if you have that kind of time, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. As I mentioned, it's not a lot. Easily, very, very, very easily, you can do that. Ma'am, do this require? So when I appeared for my paper, I did not have a lot of job experience, Ayushi. So I'll talk about myself. I've taught a lot. I've seen a lot of students clearing CP2, CP3 in their college, maybe just after college and just started working. When you just start working, you will not learn a lot, right? So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है that you need job experience. For that matter, if you see all the actual papers, job experience is majorly needed in your SP and SA papers. Apart from that, all the CM, CS, CB, CP papers don't need any kind of job experience. Okay. I've seen a lot of working students failing for CP2 in 2 or 3 terms. So वैसा कुछ नहीं. I've seen students clearing in their first attempt. It's about practice. So वैसा कुछ भी वो job वाला बात नहीं है. हाँ, a person who is working on Excel the entire day, उनका Excel का speed अच्छा होगा, but that doesn't make it sure कि उसका first attempt में clear हो जाएगा. Because again, as I mentioned, I've seen students जिनका नहीं होता है clear. Right. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you so much. I've already mentioned 2 numbers in the chat box. आप लोग को कोई भी query है आप लोग इस पे connect कर सकते हो. The classes will be mostly starting from next week, and I mean start early. It's not very early also, but start and at least clear as many papers as you can. Right? Thank you so much. We'll meet soon. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.